Welcome to Science Store online classes.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Good morning students, welcome to online physics class. We have been discussing about mechanical properties of fluid. In today's class, we are going to discuss about Bernoulli's principle. So in our last class, we have discussed that there are two types of fluid. We started with the fluid dynamics and there are two types of flow of a fluid. One is steady flow, other one is streamline flow. So steady flow means fluid is having a same speed, or every particle of the fluid will attain the same speed when they pass through the same point. So streamline is which is not having a steady flow, that is which is not having a steady flow, that is turbulent flow. So steady flow or streamline flow and turbulent flow are the two classifications. So in today's class we are going to derive Bernoulli's principle. What is this all about? Bernoulli's principle is about the steady flow or streamline flow. Steady flow is also called as streamline flow. So this principle is all about steady or streamline flow. So what do we consider here is, we consider the flow of fluid, streamline flow of fluid with the two different area of cross sections. One is smaller area of cross section, other one is larger area of cross section, and both of them are at different heights. Height of the pipe also varied. Okay, imagine you have connected a pipe to the tap. So where it is connected, it is small hole or small area of cross section. So and when the one which you are holding right, the other end of the pipe, that is having a large area of cross section. So something like this. You should imagine a pipe something like this. So this is small area, this is larger area, okay, and both the ends are at different height. One is connected to the tap, other one is you are standing on the terrace. So then height of the two ends will be different, correct? So area of cross section of this be A1, the area of cross section, this area is A1, and area of cross section this be A2, area of cross section of this is A2. Now, so if the area of cross section is smaller, speed of the fluid will also vary, correct? So if the area of cross section is smaller, speed will be greater, speed of the fluid will increase. As the area of cross section of the pipe increases, fluid speed will decrease. So let speed V1 here and speed of the fluid here is V2. Alright. So if the speed is different, then the pressure also varies. So pressure of the fluid here, let it be P1. So let it be P1. So pressure of the fluid here, let it be P2. Let it be P2. So now what is the height of this fluid pipes? So this is the ground. Let's assume this is ground. So from the ground, this end of the pipe is at a height H1. This height is H1. And this end of the pipe, this is at the height H2. Height of this end is H2. Which is greater? H2 is greater than H1, A2 is greater than A1, whereas V1 is greater than V2. Now, I'll assume another area of cross section in such a way that, see here I'll assume one more area of cross section, or yeah. So another part of the pipe, correct, that's what you can call this. So fluid, it flows in this direction, okay, streamline flow. This is how the fluid is flowing, okay. Now let me call this end as a B end. This is a B end, okay, this is C end. This is D end. So at the same distance, so area of cross section of C is same as of B. Similarly here in this end, imagine one more area of cross section which is same as D and which we name it as a E. Okay. So the mass of the fluid which enters B, right? So it will reach C in delta T time. What happens? In delta T time, the mass, some amount of mass or delta M mass of the fluid, delta M amount of fluid will reach from B to C in delta T time. Similarly, same amount of fluid will reach from D to E time in the same interval of a time. I hope you are following me. So, idu pipe alli two different area of cross section ide. C matte E nanu assume madiruvantha area of cross section. So, why I have assumed only C? Why I did not assume here? Because area of cross section of C should be equal to D. Similarly here, area of cross section of E should be equal to D. If I assume somewhere here, that will be greater than D. So I should assume of area of cross section in such a way that E should be equal to D and C should be equal to B. Matte delta M amount of mass will reach from B to C in delta T time. Delta T interval of a time alli ishtu amount of mass B in the C ge reach ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದೇ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಯಾರಲಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಪೈಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ. The water is flowing inside the pipe continuously. So when this amount of mass reaches from B to C, same parallelly at the same time, same amount of mass reaches from D to E. Alright. So in delta T interval of a time, delta amount of mass reaches from B to C and D to E. Now can you find the distance of B to C? They are not equal. BC distance is not equal. DE distance is not equal. But B and C are such a positions that, and D and E are such a position that in delta T interval of a time, delta M mass flows from B to C and D to E. Okay. So that's how you have to choose the area of cross section. But these distances are not equal. BC distance is not equal to DE distance. Remember that. Then what is BC distance? So BC, it is a displacement, right? Delta x1. So displacement from B to C is nothing but, see, velocity is equal to displacement by time interval. So displacement is equal to velocity into time interval. Alright. Displacement is equal to velocity into time interval. Okay. BC is this distance. What is the velocity of this fluid here? V1. So V1 into, what is the time taken to reach from B to C? Delta T. So delta T. V1 into delta T is nothing but BC. Similarly DE, that is the displacement of the fluid here. Let me take it as delta x2. What is delta x2? Speed V into delta T. V here is V2, so V2 into delta T. So this is my two displacements of the fluid from B to C and D to E. So that's what I said. BC is not equal to DE because BC is V1 into delta T, DE is V2 into delta T. We know that V1 is greater than V2. Alright, V1 is greater than V2, so obviously this displacement is greater than this. Alright, so this displacement, the BC distance is greater than DE distance. BC distance is greater than DE distance. So yeah, all these things are not needed. So I just mentioned. So if you want this, you can note it down in case after few days when you see this formula how delta x is V1 into delta T. If you don't get it, so you can write it at the corner. Now, so this fluid when it's moved from B to C, there will be some work done by the fluid, correct? Work done by the fluid. But when it flows from D to E, there will be work done on the fluid. See, it is at a height h2. So here B to C, when the fluid flows, water flows from B to C, work done by the fluid. Work done will be by the fluid. Here work done is on the fluid. So what is work done by the fluid? Negative of work done on the fluid. Yeah. So now calculate the work done on the fluid. So work done from B to C, work done by the fluid. Work done by the fluid. Work done by the fluid to move from B to C. To move from B to C, what is the work done by the fluid? So let me take it as W1. So what is basically work done? Work done is force into displacement, or you can say that delta x. Force into delta x. So work done here is equal to force acting here. So that is F1 into displacement there, that is delta x1. So how can you write force in terms of pressure? What is pressure? Pressure is force per unit area. So force is equal to pressure times of area. So force acting on the fluid here B to C is nothing but pressure there is P1 and area of cross section of this end of the pipe is A1. So this is F1. Alright. Force means pressure times of area, students. So force acting on the fluid here is pressure at this end, that is P1, and area of cross section of B end, that is A1. So P1 into A1, and what is delta x? Delta x is V1 into delta T. V1 into delta T. See, this is area. Area into displacement will give a volume, correct? So this terms will give you volume. Since we have a delta T here, volume is nothing but delta V. So it is a small volume. So this volume they are saying, this volume B to C, the volume present in between B to C. And P1, write it as it is. So work done at the end B to C, or work done by the fluid to move from B to C is nothing but P1 into delta V. So from D to E, what is the work done? From D to E, work done by the fluid, it is negative work done, because here work done will be on the fluid, it is at height h2, so negative. So work done W2 is equal to minus F2 into delta x2. So now you can write minus F2 can be written as P2 into A2, because here area of cross section is A2, pressure here is P2, into delta x is V2 into delta T. So this is displacement, this is area, so this together can be written as volume delta V. So is equal to minus P2. So work done W2 is this much. What is change in the work done? So change in the work done is W1 minus W2 is equal to, change in the work done is W1 minus W2, or so W1, yeah, here minus W2, right? It is minus W2 is equal to P2 into delta V. So W1 minus W2 is nothing but, so W1 is P1 delta V, W2 is minus P2 delta V. So delta V is common, you can write this as P1 minus P2 into delta V. P1 minus, or total work done also you can consider. So work done from D to E minus, if you take it as a minus, so minus P2 into delta V. So W1 minus W2, change in a work done is P1 minus P2 into delta V. Okay. So this is equation number 1. Okay. Now see, since the height is different, potential energy of the fluid here is different than potential energy here. So that is the reason. So ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೆರೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಅದೇ ರೀಸನ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ದ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಟಾಪ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಮೋರ್. ಗ್ರೌಂಡಿಂದ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೈಟ್ ಹೋದಾಗೆ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ that energy, when you turn on the tap, that energy will be converted as a kinetic energy and fluid forcefully flow into the ground, or it will flow to the floor which is at lower height, correct. So the potential energy here is greater than potential energy, gravitational potential energy. So we will calculate the potential energy at different height. Potential energy at H1. So what is generally potential energy means? mgh, correct? mgh, generally potential energy is mgh. So at H1 what is the potential energy? At H1 U1 is equal to m into g into H1. Okay. At H2 what is the potential energy? U2 is equal to m into g into H2, because I did mention same amount of fluid flows from B to C and D to E in delta t interval of a time. So change in the potential energy is equal to U2 minus U1, because here the potential energy is greater than here. Okay. So mg is common, you can take it outside. So U2 means H2 minus H1. You can write it in detail and do it, otherwise you can directly, if you could do it, you can directly write it. So this is my equation 2. This is my equation 2. Now kinetic energy will also be different. Kinetic energy here will be more than here. So at height, flow of fluid will be less, but their potential energy will be more. On the ground, flow of fluid will be more. So in case if you are sometimes, let's say the water get drained in your tank, water tank. So where the water will stop first, in the first floor or the ground floor? Obviously in the first floor water will stop coming, and then in the ground floor, because kinetic energy of the fluid, kinetic energy will be more as it nearer to the ground, and potential energy will be more as it is height above the ground. So you have to calculate kinetic energy. So what is the formula for kinetic energy? Half into mv square, correct? Okay. So kinetic energy at H1, at the height H1 means here, at H1 means at this height, at H2 means this height. So kinetic energy K1 is equal to half into m into V1 square. So at H2 kinetic energy is half into m into V2 square. What is the change in the kinetic energy? Half into m. So K2 minus K1, right? K2 minus K1. So which is equal to half into m is common. So V2 square minus V1 square, correct? Okay, this is about kinetic energy. Now I have to mention mass. So let's say this is the fluid flowing inside this pipe is having density rho. Then what is density means? Mass per volume, correct? Mass per volume. Density is mass per volume. So since mass here is delta m and delta m, and volume here is delta V and delta V, so delta m by delta V is density. So delta m is equal to density into delta V, correct? Density into delta V. So I am just taking a mass as same. So mass is equal to delta m is equal to rho into delta V. Here delta U is taken as rho into delta V. This should have been delta m, because mass here is delta m. I just took it again according to the general equation. Okay. For this particular derivation, everywhere wherever I have a mass, so wherever I have a mass, that should be delta m, and delta m is this much. So just substitute that. M is rho into delta V, H2 minus H1. This is equation, actually equation 2. Similarly here, delta K is equal to half into rho into delta V. M is delta M is rho into delta V. V2 square minus V1 square. So this is my equation number 3. Equation number 3. Now what is the so what is work done? We will use this formula now from work energy theorem. From work energy theorem. So work done or change in the work done should be is equal to sum of change in the kinetic energy and change in the potential energy, correct? We will substitute. So from 1, so 1 is equal to 2 plus 3. Then equation 1 is this, change in the work done is equal to 2 plus 3, we will do that. So 1 is this much, P1 minus P2 into delta V is equal to 2 is this, rho into delta V, H2 minus H1 plus this half into rho into delta V, V2 square minus V1 square. Delta V is common, divide the whole equation by delta V. What do you get? P2 minus P1 is equal to rho into H2 minus H1 plus half into rho into V2 square minus V1 square. So can I write it as P2 minus P1 rho H2 minus rho H1 plus half rho V2 square minus half rho V1 square. So can I write all of them together this way? I'll erase this portion. Can I write it as P2 plus, I'll bring minus term from that side, rho H1, rho H2. This should be P1, right? This should be P1. P1, P2, P1, P2. Okay. P1 plus rho H1 plus half into rho into V1 square is equal to P2, I bring it right hand side, P2 plus rho H2 plus half into rho into V2 square. So P1 rho H1, P1 is the pressure at this end, rho H1 is the potential energy per unit volume this end, and half rho V1 square is the kinetic energy per unit volume at this end. You get it right? P1 is the pressure energy and rho H1 is the, rho is mass, mass per volume, H1. So rho H1 is the potential energy per unit volume at this end, and half rho V1 square is the potential kinetic energy per unit volume at this end. Whereas P2 is the pressure here, this is the potential energy per unit volume here, this is the kinetic energy per unit volume here. Otherwise, you can simply, so what does it mean? Sum of pressure plus potential energy per unit volume plus kinetic energy per unit volume here will be equal to pressure plus potential energy per unit volume plus kinetic energy per unit volume at this end. Means pressure plus potential energy per unit volume plus kinetic energy per unit volume will remain constant. Sum of pressure and potential energy per unit volume and kinetic energy per unit volume will remain constant. So this is Bernoulli's principle in a streamline flow. Only it is applicable for streamline flow. No matter what the height of the pipe is, no matter what the area of cross section of the pipe is, as far as this is streamline flow, then pressure here, sum of pressure potential energy and kinetic energy here will be equal to sum of pressure, potential energy, kinetic energy at every point, because here potential energy is less but kinetic energy is more. Here potential energy is more but kinetic energy is less, so sum will balance. So what is Bernoulli's principle? How can you state it? If you get a question like a state Bernoulli's principle, you should state it this way: for a streamlined flow of incompressible non-viscous fluid. Why incompressible non-viscous fluid? So it is compressible, it is an ideal fluid, okay. It shouldn't be compressible, it shouldn't be viscous, heavy viscous. So incompressible non-viscous fluid, it should be in a streamlined flow. So in the streamlined flow of incompressible non-viscous fluid, sum of potential energy and pressure energy and kinetic energy, or sum of pressure energy per unit volume, potential energy per unit volume, kinetic energy per unit volume will remain constant. Why per unit? See, I have divided it by volume. So volume is divided everywhere, na? So from every quantity, na? That's why per unit volume I should mention. So pressure energy, potential energy and kinetic energy per unit volume will remain constant. So Bernoulli's principle is one of the important concept from this chapter. Only 3 to 4 mark question will appear from this chapter, and Bernoulli's principle is one most expected question. Usually derivations won't be asked, they will ask state and explain Bernoulli's principle. For statement you should write the statement, and then you should write the diagram, and then you should write the expression, both the expression, and you should write the meaning of those expression. You should write what is P, pressure energy per unit volume, what is rho h, that is potential energy per unit volume, what is half rho v square, that is kinetic energy per unit volume. So this much will be enough if the question is asked state and explain Bernoulli's principle. But for safer side, those who are focusing for a out of 4 mark, learning derivation is a good suggestion, but usually this derivations is not that very important. Those who are feeling difficult, so don't have to go for the derivation, just you can learn statement, expression and diagram, the explanation of the expression. So once again I will state Bernoulli's principle, you can note it down. Bernoulli's principle states that for a streamlined flow or steady flow of non-viscous incompressible liquid, pressure per unit volume or pressure energy per unit volume, potential energy per unit volume, kinetic energy per unit volume remains constant. This is the statement of Bernoulli's principle. Thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.